Chapter 4. Merrick's First Home. We gave Merrick 2 rooms at the back of the hospital. One room was a bathroom, so he could have a bath every day. Soon his skin was much better, and there was no horrible smell. The second room had a bed, table, and chairs. I visited him every day and talked to him. He loved reading and talking about books. At first, he did not know many books. The Bible and 1 or 2 newspapers, that's all. But I gave him some books of love stories, and he liked them very much. He read them again and again, and talked about them often. For him, the men and women in these books were alive, like you and me. He was very happy. But sometimes it was difficult for him. At first, 1 or 2 people in the hospital laughed at Merrick because he was ugly. Sometimes they brought their friends to look at him. One day, a new nurse came to the hospital, and nobody told her about Merrick. She took his food to his room and opened the door. Then she saw him. She screamed, dropped the food on the floor, and ran out of the room. I was very angry with the nurse and went to see Merrick. He was not happy about it, but he was not very angry. I think he felt sorry for the girl.
People don't like looking at me. I know that, Dr. Treves,
he said.
They usually laugh or scream.
Well, I don't want nurses to laugh at you, Joseph, I said angrily. I want them to help you.
Thank you, Doctor,
he said, in his strange, slow voice.
But it's not important. Everyone laughs at me. I understand that.
I looked at him sadly. In his one good hand, his left hand, he had the little picture of his mother. He looked at the picture for a minute, and then put it by a flower on the table. A tear ran out of his eye and down the skin of his enormous, ugly face.
Dr. Treves,
he said slowly,
you and the nurses are very kind, and I'm very happy here. Thank you very much. But I know I can't stay here long, and I would like to live in a lighthouse after the hospital, please. A lighthouse or a home for blind people. I think those are the best places for me.
What do you mean? I asked. Why? He did not look at me. He put the flower on the picture and looked at it carefully.
Lighthouses have sea all round them, don't they?
He said.
Nobody could look at me in a lighthouse, so I would be happy there. And blind people can see nothing, so they couldn't see me, could they?
But Joseph, I said, this is your home. You live here now. You aren't going to leave the hospital.
Not today, perhaps, he said. but soon. You are a kind man, Dr. Treves, but I can't stay here very long. I have no money."
I smiled. "Joseph," I said, "this is your home now. Don't you understand? You can stay here all your life." Very carefully, I told him about the letter to the Times and the money. I don't think he understood at first, so I told him again. He was very quiet for a minute. Then he stood up and walked up and down the room very quickly. A strange sound came from him, like laughing. Chapter 5. An Important Visitor. I did not want Merrick to live by himself, like a man in a lighthouse. He read his books and talked to me, but I wanted him to talk to more people, and I wanted him to talk to women. Merrick read about women in his books, but he did not often talk to women. He met the nurses every day, but they did not talk to him very much. For them, he was always a creature, not a man. One day, one of my friends, a beautiful young woman, came to the hospital. I told her about Merrick and took her to his room. She opened the door and smiled at him. "Good morning, Mr. Merrick," she said. Then she shook his hand. Merrick looked at her for a minute, with his mouth open. Then he sat down on his bed, with his head in his hand, and cried. He cried for nearly 5 minutes. The tears ran down his face, between his fingers, and onto the floor. My friend sat on the bed beside him and put her hand on his arm. She said nothing, but she smiled at him and shook his hand again before she left.
"Dr. Treves,"
he said to me that night,
"that lady was wonderful. My mother smiled at me once, many years ago, but no women smile at me now. But this lady smiled at me too, and she shook my hand. A beautiful lady smiled at me and shook my hand."
My young lady friend came again the next week and talked to Merrick for half an hour. The week after that, she came again with a friend. They gave him some books and had a cup of tea with him. It was wonderful for him. For the first time in his life, he had some friends. He was a very happy man. He sat in his room and read his books and said no more about living on a lighthouse. People began to read about Merrick in the newspapers, so he had a lot of visitors. Everybody wanted to see him. A lot of important ladies and gentlemen visited him. They smiled at him, shook his hand, and gave him books. Merrick liked talking to these people, and he began to forget about his ugly body. His visitors never laughed at him. He began to feel like a man, not a creature. One wonderful day, a very important lady came to the hospital to visit him. I met the lady and took her to his room. Then I opened the door and smiled at him. "Good morning, Joseph," I said. "There is a new visitor to see you today, a very famous lady." Merrick stood up beside his table. He did not smile, because his face could not smile, but his eyes looked happy.
"That's good," he said. "Who is it?"
I moved away from the door, and the visitor walked in. "Your Majesty, this is Joseph Merrick," I said. "Joseph, this is Her Majesty, Queen Alexandra, the Queen of England." Queen Alexandra smiled at him. "How do you do, Mr. Merrick?" she said. "I'm very pleased to meet you." Then she shook his hand. Merrick did not move. For nearly half a minute he stood and looked at her with his mouth open. Then he spoke in his strange, slow voice.
How do you do, Your Majesty?"
he said. But I don't think the Queen understood him, because he tried to get down on his knees at the same time. It was very difficult for him, because of his enormous legs. "No, please, Mr. Merrick. Do get up," said the Queen. "I would like to talk to you. Can we sit at your table?"
Yes, of course,"
he said. They sat at the table. She took his left hand, the good hand, in hers. She looked at the hand carefully, and then smiled at Merrick again. "I often read about you in the newspapers," she said. "You are a very interesting man, Mr. Merrick. You have a very difficult life, but people say you're happy. Is it true? Are you happy now?"
"Oh, yes, Your Majesty. Yes,"
said Merrick.
"I'm a very happy man. I have a home here now, and friends, and my books. I'm happy every hour of the day."
"What a wonderful story," she said. "I'm very pleased to hear it. Now, tell me about your reading. I see you have a lot of books here."
"Oh, yes, Your Majesty. I love my books,"
said Merrick. And for nearly half an hour they sat and talked about books. The Queen gave him a little book and some red flowers before she left. After her visit, Merrick began to sing. He could not sing easily, of course, because of his mouth, but all that day there was a strange, happy noise in his room. He looked at the flowers carefully and put them on his table. He had many visits from the Queen, and at Christmas she sent him a Christmas card. Windsor Castle, the 20th of December, 1888. Dear Joseph, here is a small Christmas present for you. I think it looks like me, doesn't it? I do like visiting you very much, and I am going to come to the hospital again in the new year. Happy Christmas, your friend, Alexandra. The present was a picture of Queen Alexandra with her name on it. Merrick cried over it and put it carefully by the bed in his room. Then he sat down and wrote a letter to the Queen. It was the first letter of his life.
The London Hospital, 23rd of December, 1888. My dear Queen, thank you very, very much for your wonderful card and the beautiful picture. It is the best thing in my room, the very best, the most beautiful thing I have. This is the first Christmas in my life, and my first Christmas present. Perhaps I had a Christmas with my mother once, but I do not remember it. I have my mother's picture too, and she is beautiful, like you. But now I know many famous ladies and kind people, like Dr. Treves, and I am a very happy man. I am happy, too, because I am going to see you in the new year. Happy Christmas to you, my dear friend. With all my love, Joseph Merrick.